Hi everyone, I'm so happy you're joining me for my second half of my June transits 2019. The first part of this month has been pretty lovely with all that bright Gemini energy that just keeps us moving and learning and doing and growing, and it lets us feel sort of the excitement in the air and really be a part of it. And the energy moving forward for the rest of this month is a bit different. It's a bit more intense with a lot more opposition energy coming in, and we're going to talk about why this can be really challenging for some signs and what it can actually do for you and your sign. I'll share that with you and how you can integrate the opposing energy of this month and how you can merge the two energies that are in opposition of one another, the Cancer energy and the Capricorn energy. I want you to know that it's not completely discouraging. It's not completely awful, but it is very dynamic, and it can also be kind of hard. I'm going to walk you through what days are the best days of this month and for which signs. So hang with me through this entire video because you're going to see that some of the best aspects happen a little bit later in the month. I want you to know about it all. And I want you to know that if you are a Capricorn or a Cancer, I really want you to snuggle in with me because this is a really life-changing time for you. Also for Aries and Libras. Absolutely all the signs will benefit from a lot of these transits and be affected by these transits. And so I want you to know that some of the days of this month, they're really tough and they are really, really hard. And as long as you know about the energy, you can do something with it and you can create something magical and you can create something glorious for yourself. I know it can be done. And while other astrologers are going to talk a lot about the doom and gloom of these not so particularly easy transits that we're about to step into, I'm going to help you understand the good things, the great things, the amazing things that can be born and rise out of these challenging days. Your attitude, your willingness to shine on a rainy day is pretty much the remedy that it needs to turn around a hard transit. I know it can be done because I'm having one of the best days of my life at the end of this month, and I am doing it no matter what. I'll share that with you later. I'm going to tell you which signs and which degrees of each sign are important for you to know. And if you don't know, just leave me a comment below and give me your birthday if you have a question about what your rising sign is or where your 18 degrees Capricorn is. And I try to get to everybody and I will answer your questions for you, but I love your feedback. I should tell you my name is Meredith and my company is called Soul Navigation, and I have been an evolutionary astrologer for 23 years. I have a large practice. I absolutely love what I do. And if you would like to schedule a private reading, you can go to my online scheduler. It's listed below this video. My calendar does get really full, but you can book an appointment with me. I want you to know I didn't want to mess up or make a mistake. So I literally have, like 20 pages of notes for today because I wanted to get these transits exact for you. I'll be reading a little bit about the degrees and signs. Also, my fabulous Aquarius in my life poured me a beautiful glass of champagne in my fancy crystal glass that we actually won. So cheers to you. I hope you have your glass or cozy up on with me. Oh, I also want to tell you, subscribe and hit the bell because I am starting to do live streams now. And this is where I do live readings using your charts. And I did my first live stream. You can go back and look at it. And it was so much fun. I had a blast. I didn't even want to say goodbye. So ring the little bell and you'll get the notification on my next live stream. And I'm going to teach you a lot about astrology and a lot about your own chart and how you can understand how to unfold all the secret dynamics in your own blueprint of the soul, which is your natal chart. So let's jump in. So the month gets really interesting and dynamic with Mars again, okay? So Mars entered Cancer in mid-May and it's still here, but it's coming into a big opposition. So I'm going to now share with you my screen. I'm going to bring up for you the chart. The aspects are really complicated. So if you like this, being able to see the chart, let me know. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start right here and I'm going to show you this opposition that's going on. Do you see how we have Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn and the South Node, right? And we have it in opposition or coming into an opposition here with Mercury and the North Node and Mars. So Mars right here entered Cancer in mid-May, and it's still there, of course. It is coming into opposition with this Pluto, Saturn, and South Node. I want to pull this apart for you because a lot is going on here. It's actually a ton. Mars is in Cancer. It's not very happy in Cancer, by the way. Mars likes bold, adventurous, combative, strong, gutsy, brave energy like Aries. Cancer is loving and kind, and it likes security and safety and thoughtfulness. It's tender. And when Mars is in Cancer, it becomes so sensitive. It has to operate in a really unnatural way. And when you're going out to war to fight your enemies and destroy your enemies, you don't also want to simultaneously be really sensitive and thoughtful about your enemies, right? It's uncomfortable. So it's a big contradiction when Mars is in Cancer in the first place. And at this time, we have our energy. Mars is our life force energy flooded with big Cancerian emotions and feelings. And during this time, you can really get your feelings hurt. So pay attention if you're a Cancer, a Libra, an Aries, or a Capricorn, okay, with this transit. It's awkward here. So those signs, and or if your moon sign, or if you have a Mars, Venus, Mercury placement there, so a major planet, or if it's your rising sign in Cancer, Libra, Aries, or Capricorn, this Mars in Cancer makes those signs feel awkward because Mars does not care what it has to do or who it has to take out or what it has to take out and destroy to achieve its goal. And Cancer can be so sensitive and cautious and careful and kind of calculated, where Mars is just impulsive and rash. And Mars is not very reasonable. But when it's in Cancer, it's highly focused on safety and security. So a lot of people, especially in those signs, when they're in a hard aspect to this Mars, again, that's Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, and Aries, they can feel really overwhelmed. They can feel stuck. They can feel so emotional and become depressed and paralyzed. They can just simply lose it. However, I do want to say what is beautiful about this energy when it is healthy is it's amazing protective energy. It is like a mama bear. It is on defense. It's like the Seattle Seahawks defensive line. Did you know I'm from Seattle? When they won the Super Bowl, their defensive linemen created the Legion of Boom. That was their nickname, the Legion of Boom. And I think of this Mars in Cancer energy like that, because when Mars in Cancer feels vulnerable or like the underdog, OMG, watch out. Watch the heck out, because it will take you out, it will take you down, and it will be quick to strike you down, and then it will feel bad about it later. But it is really outrageously defensive when it needs to be, and when it is put on defense. When you're on the ropes, Mars in Cancer will destroy, but it usually operates best in a self-protection or when it is feeling vulnerable, insecure, or not safe. So it's interesting. I want to talk about a side note really quickly because I thought this was really important. So Mars has been out of bounds since April. And on June 12th, it will come back into its normal energy or in bounds, okay? From April till June 12th, many of us, especially if you are a cardinal sign, like I had just mentioned, those are the cardinal signs, have felt out of bounds, like off the rails a little bit. And I want to know, please leave me a note below if you are a Capricorn, a Cancer, an Aries, or a Libra. Has your life and your energy felt discombobulated, out of bounds, out of sorts, too big, going in a direction that was unruly or uncontrollable? If you have an Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, rising sign, moon sign, or sun sign, leave me a note below. How has your energy felt since April? Scattered, not focused? I really want to know if your life has felt like it's gone off course. You may have felt like you're out of control. In positive aspect though, you could have also experienced something, and I know the little Cancerian in my life felt it this way, where your energy became superior or out of this world in a way, or created unexpected strength and power or achievements, where your energy could have been taken up or risen up to a whole new elite level, like your athleticism. So let me know how you experience this out of bounds Mars, especially if you're a cardinal sign. Now, it started in out of bounds in Gemini, so I'd love to hear from my Geminis too. I want to give you some examples of what an out of bounds Mars can show up like, and the heinousness and the grotesqueness of it at the societal level. I'd love for you to leave your comments, and some of these things are really sick and disturbing to even talk about, but I do want you to know these are just a few major events that have taken place. I'm going to read them since April 21st when Mars went out of bounds, and trust me, there are many more. I just put a few examples down here, and let me just tell you that an out of bounds planet is considered when the declination exceeds 23 degrees latitude off the ecliptic. When the declination exceeds 23 degrees or more off the ecliptic. What the out of bounds energy does is it makes that planet exaggerated or extreme. It intensifies that planet exponentially. So if you have a Venus out of bounds or a moon out of bounds in your natal chart, then you are going to feel that exaggerated version of that sign and that planet. I'm going to rattle these off. This has happened in our world, on our planet, believe it or not, since April 21st when Mars went out of bounds. So the Sri Lanka Easter bombings happened on April 21st. April 23rd, Saudi Arabia executed 37 people in one day by electrocuting them, beating them, and decapitating them. They called it crucifixions because they put their bodies, their dead bodies, in plain sight for everybody to see. On April 27th, right here in Seattle, a crane unexpectedly collapsed and it killed 4 people. And these 4 people all had just the most remarkable lives, and it just fell from the sky. It was absolutely horrible. I just got chills. On May 3rd, there was that cyclone that hit India, and it required that over 1 million people be evacuated. So this is Mars out of bounds. It's the life force energy of the world. It is the anger. It is the war. Mars is the god of war. It's where we'll fight, how we'll fight. It is also our animation and how we use our energy. May 5th, this is when Trump announced the new round of tariffs on China, on Chinese imported goods into the United States. On May 10th, there was that 25% tariff hike on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports by the US. It took effect on the 10th. On May 13th, that's when Sweden reopened its rape allegations against Julian Assange. Now, I'm not asking for political commentary or anything. I just want to show you what Mars out of bounds can look like. On May 15th, that's when the wave of state-led anti-abortion laws were passed, making abortions illegal. No matter what, it doesn't matter if there's incest or if the child is 12 years old giving birth, does not matter. Abortion is illegal in some states now. We never thought we'd see the day, but Mars out of bounds brings it to the forefront. I guess on May 18th, there was a shocking result where the Conservative coalition was reelected in Australia. And that's kind of surprising, Australia. On May 21st, I thought it was interesting that a judge ordered that Trump's accounting firm release his taxes, his tax returns. And on May 24th, Theresa May resigned as the British PM, holding back tears in her eyes, and she'll step down on June 7th. If you have any cardinal sign planets, or if your rising sign, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer, are within the degrees of 18 and 22, you really need to pay attention to the month of June. Now we're done with that Mars out of bounds, but Mars is still kind of afflicted because it is opposing the Pluto and the Saturn. And you can see it right here. So we're still dealing with this Mars energy. It's really tough. So I want you to look at your chart and I want you to see if you have any planets, it doesn't matter what sign, it could be Sagittarius, any planets between the degrees of 18 and 22, this video's for you. If you are a cardinal sign and you are born between the 10th and the 14th, not degrees, but by days. So that's January 10th and 14th, that's April 10th and 14th, it's July 10th and 14th, and it's October 10th and 14th. I am literally talking to you. You want to pay attention because the other signs are going to feel this, but not like your signs. And if those are your birthdays, this is really important to you because that means your sun is sitting in aspect to these 2 opposing energies. It's affecting you and your soul's direction in life directly. Let's start with June 14th. and we'll go back one day, okay? Now, you're probably watching this on the 15th or later, but I want you to go back and take a look in hindsight. So right here on the 14th, Mars is in Cancer. Now, I have this set to 4:42 p.m. So timing matters. This is why time matters, because you can see it's still the same day, June 14th, but now I put it to 4 o'clock in the morning. And here we have, right here, the opposition just switched places. We have the 18 degrees Mars in opposition to Saturn. This is just enormous, enormous energy. Let me take me off the screen for just a minute. I'll come back. I'll be right here. Mars is the gas and Saturn is the brakes. And this can create just enormous frustration. Mars right here is the gas and Saturn is the brakes, okay? So you can feel like your efforts are being thwarted and you're feeling like you can't get that full traction on all that you're desiring to create because the brakes are put on the gas. So you're being asked to stay patient and stay focused and take a deep breath. And if your plans are delayed or they go off course, you can help yourself by borrowing just a little bit of patience and steadiness from Saturn. And doing anything that helps calm your Mars energy down is what you need to do. We want you to fuse these two energies and create kind of a happy medium so you can create something stronger and longer lasting. These two energies, when you take the best parts of this Saturn and this Mars, can work really, really well together. It's just going to take a little more organization and time and energy and patience and dedication and will. So don't give up. You just need to be disciplined. We need to be really okay with not getting our way, right when we want to. Pushing through the walls and having more force might not work. I don't want you to get exhausted with this. Just be your steady, strong self. And remember that patience wins the game, okay? So being really patient with yourself, maybe finding new ways in which you can win will be helpful. So if this door doesn't open, don't force it. Pull back, reassess, reevaluate, see if a window opens. If not that, maybe a side door, maybe the back door, poke around. This is like the Jenga tower where you push it through and you're like, ooh, if I push this, the whole tower is going to come down. Seriously, this is just like playing Jenga. Know your power, know your strength, harness it, be steady and strong and reserve your energy and focus on your to-do list and manage your daily duties to build bit by bit the bigger picture. So now I want to move to June 16th, and it is such a mixed bag of wonderful energy and challenging energy and exciting energy, and I want you to know about this day. So I want you to mark June 16th on your calendar and put a little asterisk by it. Put a little heart by it. I want you to know that this day can go any which way but loose. So we have 4 big aspects on this day. And let's go step by step, okay? And I want you to know how this plays out for you. So I'm going to tell you, and I love doing astrology because you can actually change the energy of this day. If you know what to expect, you know what you're walking into, you can just do so much better, right? When you're prepared, I want you to be prepared. So on the 16th, we have about 4 really big things going on. And then we have like another 100 little things. But let me tell you, first we have Mercury in Cancer and it's trining Neptune in Pisces. So let me show you what that looks like in the chart. So here is Mercury, right, at 18 degrees Cancer. And now we are going to find our Pisces right here. Do you see my little cursor? At 18 degrees. 18 degrees Pisces, sitting here in harmony with Mercury at 18 degrees Cancer. So if you are a Cancer, if you are a Pisces, if you are a Scorpio, this is such a good day for you. Also, if you are a Virgo or a Taurus or a Capricorn, I shouldn't say this is a good day. I should say this is a good transit because we have 3 other transits that all go in different directions, but harness this transit and other signs will tap into this energy too. And it will be really good, especially if your Mercury or your moon is in one of those signs I mentioned above, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. You're going to find that there's just a tremendous psychic ability in this transit. So Neptune right here in Pisces is just so psychic, and so is Mercury in Cancer. That Mercury in Cancer is your mind. It's the way you think and the way you talk. Cancer is the psychic mind. Now, Neptune in Pisces is this spiritual, divine intuition, and together they create magic. So this is a very, very, very spiritual, beautiful, poetic, mental aspect for you. You can receive divine communication from the heavens above, from your guardian angels. Communication from the heavens really opens up and it literally shows up. This is a magical aspect. I want you to create magic or look for the magic in the day because it wants to find you. You will find divine connection on this day. It's powerful. So if you are a Scorpio, a Pisces, or a Cancer, please leave me a note below and let me know what magic did you find on this day. So now I want to show you another thing. We have this Mercury in Cancer opposing Saturn in Capricorn. This is challenging. Now, because this aspect is so good, I think it kind of buffers and takes the pain, suffering, and agony down a notch, if you will. So I'm going to take me off. We have this Mercury in Cancer, and you know that's the sensitive psychic mind opposing Saturn in Capricorn right here. And it's exact. And there's also the North Node there and the South Node. The South Node, I kind of like to think about it as the baggage that we carry. The North Node is the enlightened being who we are trying to become. Saturn in Capricorn is our karmic lesson. I should just say Saturn is our karmic lesson, and it's in Capricorn. It can feel like it says no to us. It can feel like it stifles us, oppresses us, represses us. Today, those cardinal signs again, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer are really going to feel this one as well. And they will be on the front lines of feeling the emotional drama of the day. And this aspect can really create frustration and disappointments and even anger. I mean, it can just really piss you off because this Saturn is sort of saying no to the mind. You will feel like other people or obstacles are standing in your way and they're telling you, no, you can't have what you want. So there can be disappointments from like unfulfilled desires or letdowns. So finding yourself a really good Gemini or an Aquarius that can truly, help you manage the space in between your dreams and then I guess the reality that really shakes out would be a good idea. And you may also find that it's kind of hard with this aspect to express yourself. You might find that it is just really difficult to say what it is you mean. It's like you can't articulate yourself very easily. And so my advice for you on the June 16th, or really between the 12th and the 20th of June, is to just do the tasks that need to get done and don't let the feelings inside of you overwhelm you. Don't let the emotions be the boss of you right now. Try to step back, step out of the bigger picture. Try to stay active and objective and graceful and at peace with life the way it is, knowing that this is not permanent. This is not going to stay forever like this. The challenges in this aspect are actually growing different parts of you. They're giving you an opportunity to develop yourself and to fortify your soul, with lessons and strength and power. Under this aspect, you might feel like you're running into a wall and you're hitting obstacles and like you're in a no-win situation. There are no good choices. But instead, I want you to know that you can mitigate this by doing, restorative activities. Choose doing something rather than sulking or doing nothing and just sitting in the murk of it all. Stay busy. Do things that feel good, that fill you up with joy and happiness. And just know that this is going to pass. Mercury moves really quickly. We have another giant aspect to talk about, and you're going to really feel this, especially if you are a Pisces or a Sagittarius or a Gemini or a Virgo, and or if you have your moon or rising sign there or a major planet. Jupiter in Sagittarius squares that Neptune in Pisces, right? So it's in challenged aspect to that Neptune in Pisces. This can go two different ways. I'm going to talk about the good I'm going to talk about the bad, but I really want you to pay attention if you are on that mutable axis: Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sag. So you may have been a little too trusting over the last couple of weeks, where you idealized a situation and it just doesn't pan out the way that you imagined that it would. And you could have had, too much faith in a situation with this aspect. You could have had, right now, I guess, the rose-colored glasses being removed, and something could have seemed better than what it actually proved to be. So it's important for, especially if you're a mutable sign, for you to cut your losses as soon as your illusions have been shattered and the truth has been seen, or the truth has been revealed to you. So don't trust someone right now who hasn't earned your trust. If you're one of the signs that I mentioned above, you should really avoid gambling. You should avoid doing drugs, hard drugs. You should avoid get rich quick schemes. You could really get into a Ponzi scheme right now. Double check your opinions with a loved one, preferably a Saturnian person like a Capricorn or an Aquarius, because they're very objective. Now, if you have this aspect, this Jupiter square Neptune in your natal chart, it's a really interesting placement, and there is a good side to this. If you have this aspect in your natal chart, you can dream big. You are a big dreamer. And if your chart has other really healthy aspects to it, your dreams can come true. Aaron Spelling, who created Charlie's Angels and The Love Boat, and I think Gilligan's Island, and all of those 1970s, The Bionic Man, The Bionic Woman, all those sitcoms, I should say, has this aspect natally. And look at what he created. Also, Leonardo DiCaprio has this aspect, and he has huge dreams. And he's a pretty spiritual person too. He's an environmentalist. He cares very much about the earth. And it's quite beautiful. He's very inspiring, isn't he? So if you're really healthy, under this aspect, you can expand your dreams and your spirituality. So Neptune is the infinite. It is as big as infinity. And Jupiter is about the size of 13,300 Earths glued together. So this is big and bigger, like Dumb and Dumber, but this is big and bigger. You can see how this can just be an enormous arena of hot air, and also enormous dreams and desires. And it can literally catapult you into a state of euphoria. It can go both ways. If you stay focused and grounded, and if you have a Capricorn or Virgo or Taurus or Aquarius or Libra energy in your chart, or if you have a friend who you can partner up with. But if you have one of those grounded, steady signs, you can truly harness the big, beautiful blessings of this day and not get swept away with the line of BS and sort of the Kool-Aid that others will try to feed you. So the fourth aspect on this day is a helpful and good one for everyone, and it lasts for the whole month, but even longer than that. And it's really going to show up loudly. So pay attention if you're a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, Pisces, Cancer, and also Scorpios. Of course, if it's your rising sign, right, I don't need to say it anymore, or if you have any major planets there, it can be super good. It is Saturn in Capricorn right here at 18 degrees. You can see it, and it sextiles. Jupiter squares Neptune, but Saturn sextiles. And if you've been studying my videos, you know that I love sextiles. I kind of have a theory on this. Back in the olden days, when life was just really, really, really hard, a different kind of hard, astrologers thought that trines were the blessings. And I think they were, because I think when you just got an easy, good day, and I'm talking about back when everybody was a farmer and had to harvest their own food and just get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and went to bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in some places. When you got an easy, good day, it's like, wow, the rains came and we won. And life was simple. And now with trines, they produce kind of a laziness, because a trine would look like, I don't know, we all get to be Paris Hilton. Beautiful, skinny, rich, and not a lot of feeling of purpose in our life. And so squares today, and I think sextiles, create just enough grit that you can get traction and momentum to really take off. So I think the times have changed, and we need harder aspects today because life is more complicated. Not that a sextile is hard, but there's a little grit in a sextile that a trine just doesn't have. And squares can really create a stamina that a trine just can't. That's my little theory on that. But Saturn in Capricorn sextiling the Neptune in Pisces right here. You know, if the Jupiter in square to Neptune sort of took your faith away and made you wake up to the realities of life and made you lose a little bit of faith because it seemed too good to be true and it actually was, this can give you your faith back. So, you know, if you truly know your work and you really did things the right way, because we are working with the planet of karma, with Saturn right here at 18 degrees Capricorn. And if a way you didn't cheat or take shortcuts, you can really feel quite capable right now. And there's a spiritual wisdom mixed with practical application. It's very pragmatic and it's very self-disciplined. This aspect is going to help you sacrifice short-term gratification to set you up for long-term reward. And so there's a real deepening with this aspect. It's like you can be optimistic while also simultaneously understanding the limitations placed upon you and really be okay with it. This relationship between Saturn and Neptune really allows you to literally make your dreams come true. It's so exciting. So what are your dreams? What are you working on? What are you trying to make come true? And if you're feeling blessed right now, like I am in my life, is this in a harmonious and good placement in your chart? Are you a Scorpio? Because this aspect will benefit you. Are you a Pisces? Are you a Capricorn? God bless you. You deserve a little break because you're just getting pummeled with this opposition this year. And it's going to continue until July actually of 2020. Earth signs really benefit. Virgos and Tauruses benefit from this dreams come true too. It's like your dreams can come true with hard work and a sensible, realistic approach to life. So I want you to leave me a comment or a note below if you are a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, and let me know what are you working on and what is happening for you. So this transit actually works because it brings you success from a spiritual belief system. Basically, you have faith in yourself, in what you're creating in your world, and you have faith that money and success will in fact find you. You stand strong in that. You have a core in that. You can actually make your dreams come true with this faith that you have inside of yourself, with your realistic approach to solving your problems. And you'll most likely understand that you've got limitations to work with, but it doesn't erode the optimism and the faith that you have inside of you. It's like your spiritual goals will allow you to keep the focus on the bigger picture of life. There's a spiritual wisdom that comes to you right now. I mean, seriously, you might think I'm crazy, but seriously, you could meet God right now. You could meet your guardian angels. This is such a good time for prayer and ritual and implementing a spiritual practice, whatever it may be. And because I'm an evolutionary astrologer, I feel that there is a place for God and religion in my work. I don't feel my work excludes that or my belief system in astrology. How does ritual play an important part in your daily routine? And devotion and service to others will increase your spiritual awareness, your understanding, and your relationship to the divine, and you will benefit from that. So right now, you might consider, or you might have the desire to join groups and organizations with similar values and a similar belief system as you. This could be a spiritual group, a group that is charitable, or support groups, or environmental activists, or women's rights, any group that you kind of have a tender or soft spot for that also might help you develop a deeper spiritual wisdom. When I say spiritual wisdom, I kind of mean that place where you step outside of your own wants, needs, and wishes, your own ego, and you really embrace the bigger picture of humanity and life and the world. I want to also tell you that under this transit, you can really build literally your dream home. This transit happens exact on 3 different days in 2019. First, it happened on January 31st, 2019. So go back to that day and see exactly what you were doing around January 31st, because this is an echo chamber of that moment in time. June 18th, 2019, and then November 8th, 2019 are the dates when it hits exact. But this transit lasts a long time. I mean, we could basically say this transit happens all year long. So if you don't feel it exactly on that day, but on January 21st, something amazing happened, yeah, that's still this transit. Because remember, it has to go 10 degrees. I take orbs of 10 degrees before and after. I want to go to the next date, which is June 17th. And stick with me because this month is so powerful. Don't fade off now. Keep going, plug away, because I want you to circle these dates on your calendar because it just gets more and more and more intense. So I really believe June 17th is a good day. And I rarely say this about full moons. I rarely do. This day is a great day. I do feel though, that right here, you'll see the moon and Gemini, and we can make it go exact. So I like the opposition between Gemini and Sagittarius. I actually think it's the best opposition out of all the oppositions because it's in the mutable signs. And I feel like the mutable signs can mold and sculpt themselves more easily and they can adapt a little bit more easily. The fixed oppositions like Taurus and Scorpio are harder because they're a little bit more rigid and stuck in their ways. So they have a harder time integrating. And oppositions are always asking you to integrate. And so when the moon is in Sag right here, we've got it exact, and the sun is in Gemini, they are in opposition of one another. That is an interesting aspect. And I also feel like the signs that are going to benefit the very most from this are Aquarius, Libra, Sag, and Leo. They especially love this day. But I do think this is a really good day for every sign. And if you have Gemini or Sag in your chart, see where this axis is in your chart, and that's what's being illuminated. We have this full moon at 25 degrees Sagittarius. It's here to say goodbye to the things that no longer support your truth or your values or your philosophical belief system. Sagittarius is your philosophy. It is your personal philosophy. It is your highest self. And it is an interesting placement here because the full moon in Sagittarius is conjunct Jupiter. Do you see that? We have this Jupiter at 18 degrees with the moon in Sag right there at 25. Like, is that not gorgeous? Sagittarius's ruler is Jupiter, the lucky sign and the sign of optimism. Such a happy placement. Gemini and Sag are really optimistic signs. You rarely see Geminis or Sages down in the dumps for too long. So this is a day when you can really make dreams come true. And then you have that Jupiter squaring Neptune right here. And so this is a dreamy day. I know it's a full moon, but make sure you embrace this full moon and you walk underneath the moonlight. Now, we're also going to have that Mercury in Cancer right here, that Mercury in Cancer opposing all that Capricorn energy. The action this month between the 12th of June and the 19th is all this opposing energy, all of this Mercury and Mars opposing Saturn and Pluto and the South Node, our baggage, and our North Node, what we want to become. And it's just a ton of this opposition energy. So I really think this full moon aspect with this lucky Jupiter, if you will, is helpful. And I want to mention here that this Mercury is going to retrograde in Cancer on the 2nd of July. If you missed my Cancer transits video, please mark on your calendar July 2nd because I want you to prepare for it. And it basically stays in retrograde for almost all of July. I think there's 2 or 3 days that it's not in retrograde, the tail end. But between June 13th and July 17th, but I'll take the 12th through the 19th, we're really going to feel this Mars Mercury conjunction right there in opposition to the Saturn Pluto South Node conjunction. And it's a fascinating time for lots and lots of different reasons. And I don't want to overwhelm you with all the astro babble, but I knew when my friend told me I should show this chart, I knew it would be a really important thing to do. So I'm making the extra effort to do it. And if you like this format, let me know, leave me a comment below and let me know if you feel like the chart is imperative or helpful for you in understanding the aspects. Because I know it's tough for us to understand fully the depth of astrology. And now I know you no longer believe in sun sign astrology when you see the complexity of the chart. So I want you to look where 18 and 20 degrees is in your chart, because look at this. Right here, you have 18 degrees Saturn. Do you see that? And the South Node. And it goes all the way up to 22 degrees. And then over here, you have 18, 19, and 20. So wherever you have 18 and 19, 20 in your chart, in any sign, it is being affected by this. And if you are a Capricorn, Libra, Aries, or Leo, or you have major planets or your rising sign in those degrees, it's really serious game changer. I mean, your life is wanting to shapeshift and change. It's pretty fascinating. With this Sagittarius full moon conjuncting Jupiter right here, it brings a ton of optimism and generosity and good fortune, and good intentions breed success, right? So especially with those things related to growth and happiness, you can plan an exciting long distance trip or overseas international trip right now. I also feel like this benefits your intimacy and your relationships because it's involving the moon. It's a time when you could plan a long journey or a move. It's a time when you could plan going back to school, higher education, that is. And it is just a little bit of good luck, like a dollop of good luck on this really hard opposition. So I like that. I like this full moon. I want you to embrace it. I want you to walk under the moonlight and really, really embrace it. Now, on June 18th, Mercury conjuncts Mars, right? It really increases mental activity right now. It can also create, aggressiveness or defensiveness because it's in Cancer. This can kind of get you into arguments. This can get you into places where you really lose your temper or you really emotionally lose it. Your temper can be so triggered right now, I'm telling you. So you really need a dose of patience. You can either be rude and abusive or spoken to in a rude or abusive manner on the 18th. I want you to try to remember to walk away with grace and to pick your battles. And it's not always about winning, of course. This can be a buildup of really nervous, anxious, impulsive energy. And you can make this a better aspect, better energy with mental stimulation. You can study or investigate or research or really put high focus. What I'm basically saying is drain your mind. Do things that are mentally stimulating. You're most likely going to encounter real hostility in the world, even violent, abusive violence. It's awful. Pick your battles. Really feel your emotions before you react. Feel your emotions, pause, reflect, and then react. I personally think that that's a really hard day, along with the 19th. I think the 18th and the 19th are probably some of the hardest days of the month, truthfully. And I think the 19th is my least favorite day, with the moon moving into Capricorn, and it's going to snuggle up to Saturn, Pluto in the South Node. Let's take a look at it. Boom-o, you got the moon right there. Ugh. And the moon on Saturn is kind of unhappy emotions. And the moon on Pluto, it's like an emotional death in some ways. And then you have the South Node there. And then it all opposes Mars. I mean, to be really honest with you, and by the way, I am such an honest person in my readings. I am filled with integrity when it comes to telling the truth, even if it's a hard truth. And I think this day just flat out sucks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy into Venus and Gemini right down here, and I'm going to buy into the 27 degrees sun in Gemini. And I am determined to make it extraordinary. And I'm going to hang my hat on that, even though it's retrograde, that Jupiter and Sagittarius. I hope you're drinking wine with me. Aries and Capricorn and Cancer and Libra are going to really have a struggle with this day, probably. So tread lightly and be nice to these people, even though you might not want to, or you might be mad. God, just throw these people a bone and table really hard discussions for another day. If you have to have a hard discussion, just don't have it on the 19th. So Mercury is also, look at right here, Mercury is opposing Pluto. It's like, gosh, it just can't get more. And it can really bring up competition. It can bring up aggression. It's a time when you could be manipulated. You could be cajoled. You could be dominated by people who want to run you over. And it's a time when somebody could really try to influence you or persuade you, cajole you, manipulate you, even hurt you. And there's subliminal messaging going on right now, trying to infiltrate your world, trying to persuade you, trying to get you to buy into their more dominating way of thinking. And it's like you just really might not be able to see the truth today. Don't take things at face value today. Please do not take anything at face value, especially if you're a Capricorn or Cancer. If you want to try and channel the healthy side of this aspect, like I want to, and like I know I will, the possibility for a positive aspect or a positive experience with this aspect is transformation. Positive transformation in deep self-awareness if you're willing to be truthful for yourself and for others in the world. And this would be a great time for self-discovery work, for psychological work, for digging deeper into self-awareness, for getting a counselor, and for really saying, I want to see my truths. And if you're willing to do that, and you're willing to take off the blindfolds and really willing to go in deep and just get into the raw grit of the hard parts of life, you could really be liberated. So there is a liberation, but it isn't without sort of being willing to experience the difficulty in seeing the truth. When Mars in Cancers opposes Pluto, this creates such a big energy, you won't be able to miss it, where you're going to see powerful forces of energy against you or against your belief system. And that's more in the societal structure. So you might really see that the world is going in a direction that you can't prescribe to, you don't believe in. And it might be utterly heartbreaking, literally broken heart. That's this Pluto conjunct the moon opposing Mars. Broken heart. I want you to know it is not going to stay this way. And you just have to remember that. You have to keep your faith. You might see that people will see your weak spots and they take advantage of you, take advantage of your time, your energy, your effort doesn't pay out. You get exhausted and your goals and your wishes and your hopes and dreams are just not achievable on this day. You might find that. You might feel that. And when you can just accept that and surrender a little bit, and instead of fighting and taking on the world, you just surrender for a moment, take a deep breath and regroup, force an attitude adjustment, force a new perspective. Don't buy into the all or nothing. Like I only want to play if I have it all. Don't make other people choose all of you or none of you. Don't do the black and white. Be willing to live in the nuanced gray matter where you just don't have all the answers. You just don't have all the information. Don't make it be a hard line in the sand like the rest of the world. Be willing to say people are plagued with problems. Have compassion for another person's black and white attitude that's too strong and too harsh, and learn compromise, learn surrender. Be okay with not knowing all the answers right now, because it could really be a painful time in life and in the world. You're going to need courage and internal strength right now. And it's sort of that quiet strength that lives inside of you that just says, okay, let's breathe through this. We're going to get through it and we're going to be okay, because we will be. You just might see that people try to intimidate you, coerce you. Just know that these tactics and this grotesqueness doesn't win in the end. It might win this battle. It does not win the truth. It doesn't. It never wins in the end. It might take you down right now, but it doesn't take you down forever. I want you to also know that there's a sexual theme in this aspect as well. And it's a sexual conquest aspect. I just don't want you to go out on any dates with any weirdos. I don't want you to, if the person hasn't earned your trust and you don't know the person for a very long period of time, no. Do not go out. Do not take chances. Do not walk in back alleys. Do not accept rights from strangers. Nope. My God, I just met the family that, knows the woman who lives one town away from me who met her Match.com date and really liked him and went on 6 dates and was murdered by him. And he was a complete fraud. And it's heartbreaking. And I just met this young boy who's 17 years old and he is best friends with her daughter. She's no longer alive. So this aspect is a danger aspect. It's one of the worst aspects in astrology, to tell you the truth. And I just don't like it. So I want you to raise your vibration up, meditate, go to yoga, raise the vibration of the world up, especially on this day. So for 24 hours, I think you can be reclusive and you can send your prayer out to the world and be aware and be safe. If you are a Capricorn or a Cancer, you are going to be really careful on this day, and Aries and Libra and all signs, because this can happen, especially if you have any planets within the degrees of 18 and 22. Let's move on to something positive. We have to say happy birthday to our Cancers. So right now, I want you to, after this video, video, I want you to go watch my Everything Cancer video. And I hope you love it. And if you are a Cancer, I want to know what you think. Or if you're involved with a Cancer, I love Cancers. Love, love, love them. My favorite people are Cancers. On June 21st, look at this, Neptune retrogrades. So Neptune's really interesting. It's highly misunderstood because it's hard to understand. So it's not misunderstood because we're ignorant. It's hard to understand because it is complicated. So you can see that today we have our Neptune in retrograde in Pisces right here. Let me just talk to you about this for a minute. Neptune is going to stay retrograde until about American Thanksgiving. That's November 27th. Neptune in a natal chart is more common than having inner planet retrogrades such as Mercury or Mars or Venus. So about 40% of the people have Neptune in retrograde. And I want you to see if you have this little RX right there. Do you see that? Do you have that in your chart? And I also want to say that if you want your chart printed, this beautiful chart like this printed, you can do that. You can just go to my online scheduler and there's a button at the very bottom that says print my natal chart and I'll send it to you. And so it's really helpful. So you can have your own chart to look at while we do these videos going forward. It's very inexpensive. And I will print out your beautiful chart. And I can print it out with asteroids and Eris and Psyche and the South Node in it. So you'll love it. You know, Neptune retrograde, we're not as afraid of it as we are, say, Mars in retrograde or Venus in retrograde or even Mercury in retrograde. It still has really deep karmic repercussions in it. And it has a definite influence in the soul growth. And it has a spiritual nature too if it's retrograde. And if you have natal Neptune retrograde, it suggests that there's some part of you where your past was so deeply painful. The wounds were so deep, so hurtful, so grotesque, so unbearable that you have to try and escape your reality. And you may have a tendency to deny and avoid pain at all costs. You may have an escapist personality. You may really have an ability to sort of cut off the pain, or I should say you try to. Neptune in transit, Neptune retrograde in transit lasts for about 160 days. That's why about 40% of the people are born with that every single year. And so it isn't as big of a deal as the inner planets going retrograde. Mars retrograde in a year is only 9% of the year, and Venus is only 7% of the year. So transiting Neptune retrograde can strip away the illusions and the dreams and the false reality, and it can strip away the clouded vision, if you will, and it can sober you. It can destroy your fantasy world, and it will show you the harsh realities of your life that you haven't wanted to see or you aren't capable of seeing. So wherever you've been kidding yourself, wherever you're in denial, the truth can show up quite clearly now when Neptune is retrograde. So if you live farther from the truth, or if you have really extreme methods of escapism, that can make this time more painful. If you live close to the truth and you have a sober, clear-minded reality that you deal with, this is an easy transit. You might not even feel it. So it can be really painful to see the truth of your reality. And if you have an addiction to drugs or alcohol or food or gambling or porn, this can be hard. It's like your higher spiritual self will want to get your soul help right now, and you could reach out to get help. So the self-sabotage process will want to end one way or another between now and November 27th, 2019. This is especially hard for Pisces, Sagittariuses, Geminis, and Virgos. You may want to get sober. You may want to quit your addictions. You also might find that you're not able to. So you might need the help of a good friend. Confide in somebody. Ask for help. If you have Neptune in retrograde natally, would you please leave a comment below and let me know if you can relate to this. I want to know if you guys would like a whole video on Neptune retrograde. Let me know if it's of interest to you. Maybe it's not. It's only 40% of you, so I don't know if it's really interesting. But I also want to know if you would be so willing to share. What is your addiction? What is your plight? How do you feel about it? Because when you share truthfully, you genuinely help others. And that might be one of the most special gifts you could give to another, is sharing of your own experience, sharing of yourself. So if you had the courage to do that, I say thank you. Let's look at June 23rd, and we're almost done. We're coming to the final stretch. So let's take a look. Venus in Gemini is opposite Sagittarius in Jupiter. Let's take a peek. You see this whole Capricorn Cancer opposition. When you see an opposition like that, it's kind of bipolar. It's two opposing energies that don't have much in common and don't know how to talk to each other, and they have to learn how to do it. They have to learn how to integrate. So here we have Jupiter in Sagittarius right here at 17 degrees, opposing Venus in Gemini at 17. And it's a little bit wider, but not much, just 4 degrees. It is squaring the moon, and it's almost exact squaring Neptune. So we have to take it bit by bit, okay? So Venus opposing Jupiter is actually a good, loving transit for partying and indulging. As long as you can afford your indulgences, got to have the time and the money and the energy and the enthusiasm and the effort to do so. But it's a really good party transit, to be honest. It's a lot of fun. And if you've done your due discipline right now, if you will, your due diligence, your due discipline, and you are a Sag or a Gemini or an Aquarius or a Libra or an Aries or a Leo, this is a super fun time for you. And it can really help you enjoy life to the fullest. And it can be an aspect where you make new friends and you have new lovers right now, or you deepen your love or more playful love. And this can be a let the good times roll aspect. But for the Scorpio and the Cancer and the Capricorn and the Taurus and the Virgo and the Pisces, you might have to dig a little bit deeper to find your motivation to get your work done so you can play with the rest of the world. And you might need to work harder to be productive and not careless and not just sleep through your final exams or sleep through your paper. However, if you're a healthy, responsible, reliable person and not too indulgent, you can really have this spark up your love life and your friendships. You can make this a super playful time, and you can take on a new love and new activities and new fun and new friendships. It's a great aspect. But I want you to be careful with overindulging in food and drink and drugs and anything that could sabotage you. Let's talk about Venus in Gemini squaring that Neptune in Pisces. So let's take a look at it. Venus in Gemini squaring the Neptune in Pisces right here. This can be really hard. So pay attention to this time, especially if you're a Sagittarius or a Gemini or a Pisces or a Virgo. And you may really, really want and need love and affection right now. You may feel needy on the 24th in a way that you haven't felt before. And you may really want this love and this affection, and you might even attract a new relationship into your life. But it could come with hidden problems because Neptune right here in Pisces, it doesn't reveal the truth. It makes you feel like things are too good to be true. So you got to stay really honest with yourself. You got to really be willing to look at the red flags. And I truly, truly feel it would be wiser to wait to start a brand new relationship. If you do start a brand new relationship, just please dig for the truth. Because I was going to say wait until at least the 30th of June, but then we've got Mercury in retrograde on the 2nd, and I never like starting a relationship inside of Mercury in retrograde, and that lasts for all of July. So if you are starting a new relationship, make sure you really have good X-ray vision. If not, wait till August 1st. Unless you've known this person for a while, or this person comes with endorsements, or you know the person's true character, then I don't care. But the piece that worries me is that you won't be able to see the true character. So on one more note, you're gonna be more susceptible to the depressant side of alcohol right now. And you could also be susceptible to poisoning right now. So I don't want you to take drugs off the street or from people that you don't know. Addiction is so likely right now, especially if you dabble in recreational drugs. If you are a regular user, be so careful to not overdose or get contaminated or get infections. And I don't want you to get ripped off. Dealers can cheat you. It's just such a bad time right now to even go there. So I say that lovingly without judgment. I just want to help take care of you. So let's talk about June 26th. This brings a glorious good day. Yay! A good day. And the end of the month gets a little sweeter, truthfully, because these oppositions loosen up a tiny bit, not completely, but they loosen up a tiny bit because Mercury moves really fast. You can already see this is at 28 now, right? And it's moving off of the Mars and it's moving out of this Saturn and South Node, and it's moving away from the Pluto. So it's getting better. It's getting sweeter and sweeter and sweeter as the month goes on. So on the 26th, we get this glorious Sun-Uranus aspect. And that's right here, because you know that Uranus has moved into Taurus, and the Sun is at 4 degrees Cancer. The Sun is at 5 degrees Cancer, and Uranus is at 5 degrees Taurus. And so this is a really fun and super exciting day because it brings us fun surprises. I love surprises. Oh my God. I am so hard to surprise because I love them so much. I look for them, and then I find the surprise before the person could even deliver it. So I'm a hard person to surprise, but I love them. So I hope I get a surprise on the 26th. But it can bring us a really fun and super stimulating time, and this is a good time to try something new. You might meet somebody exciting, and you should have enough freedom to be able to do whatever it is you want. And this is a time when your creativity really expands and it's alive, and you're going to feel expressive and like you can talk easily and express your truth easily, express yourself easily. You can take on learning astrology up to the next level. You're really going to advance yourself in some way. It's a progressive time. This aspect can lead you to new discoveries. Maybe you'll discover a new world. You can really add this beautiful, progressive, even technological aspect to your life that helps you advance and improve your life. Your life speeds up. Things get fast. If you think about this, my love, George Michael, God, I love that man. He had this natally, and so did Sir Isaac Newton. And Sir Isaac Newton was just absolutely brilliant. I thought George Michael was too. I absolutely love that man. But you might feel the fun of this aspect. You could feel this aspect for a long time, all the way from June 22nd through July 2nd. So right before Mercury goes retrograde. I want to know what happens to you under this transit. And especially if you are a Cancer or a Taurus, that's exciting. But all the water signs, Pisces and Scorpio and Cancer and Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, thank God they get a little break again, are going to really benefit from this. But I'm a Sagittarius, and I promise you, I am benefiting from this aspect. I know I am. I am determined to borrow this transit and just etch it into my heart and soul because I want this transit too. And you can do that as well, no matter what sign you are. It does not matter. You can borrow the energy of the day and harness it, especially if you know it's coming. I have to say something about June 28th, and let's go look at it together. And that's because this is a really special day for me. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful day for me. I've already planned it. I already know it. It is a good day. It still has the remnants of some of those harder oppositions that we said, but I am not daunted because I absolutely love the sun and the moon on that day. Do you see it? So you've got the sun at 7 and the moon at a wide 18. It's still great because I think Cancer sun with a Taurus moon is one of the best zodiacal pairings that there is. I also love Taurus sun with a Cancer moon. I think that it is just so loving, so warm, so nurturing, and it knows how to create creature comforts on all 6 senses. I love this day because Neptune, the spiritual planet, right, trines the North Node. This day is so magical. The North Node at 18 Cancer, and there you go with Neptune at 18 degrees Pisces. I mean, that is yummalicious. That is so, so, so good. It's really divine. It is a spiritual connection. It is a deeply divine aspect that I just am in love with. And I'd love to share the vertex in this chart. I had to move the chart a little bit because the vertex moves really quickly, but it sits right there on the moon at 2:16 p.m. And it is so exciting. And around 2:30, it sits right smack on it. And if you guys want to know about the power of the vertex, see, it's right here. That's a soulmate aspect. And when you have a really strong vertex with somebody else's vertex, it creates a soulmate aspect. And I love when the vertex sits on the moon. So love this day. I think by the end of June, we get a little bit of a break before we move into that Mercury in retrograde. Let me know if you would like a video on the vertex and the power of timing and finding your soulmate using the vertex. It's really powerful when you look at couples that have really made it together. Their vertexes just line up together in a really harmonious way. Wow, I have so many videos to make. I would love to know your comments. If you would like to order a chart from me, please go ahead and do that. Subscribe to this channel so you can get the little notification when I do my next live stream. You're going to absolutely love it. You can be live with me and I'll read your chart. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you found it beneficial, and I cannot wait for my next video in July. I look forward to hearing everything you have to say to me, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful June. I know I will, and I hope you do too. Take good care. Bye.